Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Doerr, the Aloha shirt psychic, and this is an Aloha shirt. It's just a slip over. I've lost so much weight, it looks like I could camp out in here.
I'll tell you.
I've got the one, the only Linda G in the house, and we're doing a show today. We'll do another one on Monday, but because I missed on Monday, we're doing makeup. So not this kind
Right.
of
And
makeup.
yeah, because you haven't been able to do any shows.
Linda, I got to thank you because Linda sent me a text and she says, ask the doctor, what you can do for this because, working, missing work, going back to work, it's a pain in the what. So I told the doctor that, and she goes, well, you can keep having these flare-ups and blah, blah, blah. And the more you have, ultimately, you should have the surgery. And I'm like, I'm having the surgery. So uh,
Yeah.
I've decided the first week in June, if I don't have another flare-up, if I do, then I have to have surgery sooner. But um,
It's no way
anyway,
to live.
no, I don't. Yeah, it's not. I'm active. I love doing my shows. I like doing my readings. And I love doing my trips. I had to cancel one at the end of April to Slovakia to teach, and I just want my life back.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So I'm going to tell you guys something as a nurse. It's remember this. If you keep going back to the doctor because some plague that's affecting you, and you know how sometimes they just won't give you the answer.
I know.
You tell them this is affecting my quality of life. And then when you say it, tell them, please chart that. And when you say that, they know, uh-oh.
Well, I didn't tell her to chart it, but I did say what you told me. This is affecting my quality of life, and
Yeah.
I'm 71, but I have no intention of retiring, and I'm
Yeah. Well, your livelihood depends on working.
correct. And so she seemed cool.
You told her your pole dancing has been long gone.
No, I said I'm still trying. The only problem is I can't get my other leg around the pole. I said, the old joke, they gave me $25.25. Who gave you the quarter? They all did. Anyway, well, speaking of makeup, Andro Niki, Andro dash Niki, Niki. Was in the hospital. I couldn't use the moisturizer for my hands, and they got all cracked and dry. And I started using it again, and they're doing great.
They're feeling better. Yeah.
That's the best stuff.
I need to mention him again on my show too.
It's Andro, Andro dash Nikki for the product.
I had it was like sandpaper sometimes, my skin. And I buy this ultra expensive stuff from Nordstrom's and all this. And no, it wasn't work. I even had a little jar of some stuff the plastic surgeon gave me, $350 for this little 2x2. And it wasn't really working. So then you sent me that product, or he sent it to me.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Well, he asked me to ask if you needed more, so I'll tell him
No,
yeah.
right now I'm good. Right
All
now
right.
I'm good.
Well, you can always have some and stockpile just in case.
I have some stockpiled because he's
Oh,
very generous. Yeah.
yeah, okay. I'll tell him that you're,
A lot of people told me when they called or they couldn't find something, he was very helpful with the product, with the situation that they needed. Yeah, he's very helpful.
oh, he's incredible.
And by the way, the product's not expensive like
No,
Nordstrom.
it's not. I'll have him on this show. Maybe we can do a show together with
We've
him.
been talking about that.
Yeah, because his story is pretty spiritual, the way he came up with a name and when he was born. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah,
He's
and you told him this was going to happen.
got this wonderful Australian accent. So
But I see him doing hair shampoos and stuff down the road here.
good. Yay. There you go, Andrew. If you're watching, you got a prediction
Yeah.
from Linda Grindel is probably the best psychic I've ever worked with.
Oh, thank you, honey. It's not true, but thank you.
She paid me to say that. No, it is true. Um, True that she's the best psychic I've ever worked with. Also, I got openings on my trip to Iceland in October. That's going to be an incredible trip. And to Peru in September. I'm going to be all well by then. I'm looking forward to more trips. Next year, I'm thinking of a cruise on the Mekong River and a trip to the Galapagos Islands. And so I'm already starting to think ahead with my trips.
Good for you.
Um, Anyway, so I've got some questions, a lot going on. I didn't really get a chance to watch much of the news today. I looked at breaking news a little bit, but I guess we're ready to get started, huh?
He's still alive.
Oh yeah.
Daggone it. But that senator was able to visit with Garcia.
Yeah, but then the president down there said that he kind of made fun of that visit, I think.
Yeah, but that's who they are. They're bullies.
Yeah, Bouquet, I think
You
Bukele,
know, here's the thing. Trump isn't going to be in there forever.
right? No,
And as soon as Trump is gone, or maybe even beforehand, I saw military going down there. When he stops getting his money from the United States, he'll be happy to give him back.
well, right now President Bukele is very supposedly popular down there, and people in, certain parts of South America like him. He's kind of like their version of, of a MAGA.
Yeah.
Um, but the people like he's been imprisoning down there without due process. He's becoming like a dictator.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
how they start off. They start off where they think people like them and then they take advantage of it.
I see if he doesn't stop, he's going to fall in huge disfavor with countries in South America and his own country.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's all about money too.
Right. And I see the people down there staging a coup, and he's going to be overturned.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple years, but it will happen.
It'll be after Trump's already out.
And I think you're seeing military because he's refusing to let go uh the Garcia. Uh Abrego Garcia. He's refusing to let him go. And I understand that President Bukele also mocked Senator Chris Van Hollen, who's a Democrat from Maryland. They said it was a domestic error. That's BS. I think Trump told, and Pam Bondi told the president down there, don't release him, keep him, because he's being paid to keep him. That's what I think.
Yeah. $6 million.
There you go. So, oh, that's boy, it's gonna be huge scandals about all that.
But it's mostly when Trump is leaving or almost out.
I agree.
But what did he do here? Tell me what your interpretation is. Starting a constitutional crisis by not listening to the Supreme Court.
Well, I watched Glenn Kirshner, and the Fourth Circuit Court said, about Abrego Garcia, he was just kidnapped, put on a plane, and sent for no reason. Um, you know, um, they want to keep him there. So a lawsuit was filed by Maryland court, just Judge Seekney's, I think, because she ordered him back, and they filed a lawsuit, and it went to the Fourth Circuit. SCOTUS told them to bring him back.
9-0.
Right. Well, the Fourth Circuit issued an order. You got to read it. It's really scathing against Trump. They wanted Judge, I think her name is Sines, to they would try to an appeal to stop her from the contempt order to bring this guy back. And they really were scathing against Trump and his administration. They say they're breaking the law. They know it. They talk about, what he's doing is so unconstitutional, illegal. I mean, and this was a Ronald Reagan appointed judge, and all three of them on that fourth district, said that that they were just scathing against him. And
Yeah.
My guy,
he's not a king.
no, at all.
But I'm seeing big trouble. I know there'll be contempt of court, and they may even throw a couple of the lawyers in jail. I see some big events taking place.
Well, they ultimately denied, the Trump administration for an extended stay on bringing this Garcia home. So, and
what gets me? They threw it to the Supreme Court. They immediately get the Supreme. Then when the Supreme Court comes back with their answer, they ignore them.
Right. And well, I see a lot of Department of Justice attorneys disbarred because of a lot of this stuff. Pam Bondi, I see her found guilty of obstruction. I don't know if she'll do jail time, but they've done nothing to facilitate bringing this guy home. I guess the deal is though, my guides show me that our courts will save our democracy. But the courts are telling him he has to bring this guy home, and Pam Bondi's saying, well, the president down there won't release him. That's a lie. So I guess my question is, what recourse does the court have to make sure that Trump complies? Because he's like, we're not going to do it. And
Well, they're going to start doing contempt of court.
okay, but what if
She's already said that. And then she said, even if it requires jail, I want to know who's responsible for telling us he can't come back. And it's not El Salvador.
right?
I want to know who's cutting the checks.
Yeah, but then the problem is, if Trump administration says no, then how do the courts enforce it? Ultimately, he will be impeached. But
Well, I don't know about going down. Ultimately, he will be impeached, but I do see some people going to jail.
so do I.
Oh, Trump's going to be furious.
Um,
And by the way, he told somebody, not Pam Bondi, he wants the license of 60 Minutes revoked.
it's not going to happen.
No, all they got to do is fight it.
Right, because he doesn't like anybody. He's trying to break the free press. He is going through every one of the articles of the Constitution and breaking them to see how much he can get by with.
Right.
And I mean, for him, the Constitution is a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. But
Right.
the Fourth Circuit said they referred, let's see, it's in my notes here, that the court doesn't accept Trump's version, to facilitate bringing him back. The court says, we see what you are doing. You cannot deport without due process, and then disdain responsibility for bringing them home. You don't get to do all that. And boy, you got to read it. It was scathing.
Yeah, but I don't want you guys to obsess with this. I understand the absolute devastation it's causing, but I want you to know that he will come home. I've seen him coming home.
So do I.
Okay, so just know that it'll happen.
But I think you're right about one thing, about many things, but I also see the military at some point marching into that prison down there and freeing a lot of those people that were deported illegally. That's what I see coming. Because you just can't send them there for life. They have to have due process. You can't keep them there without that. Anyway. Okay. Are we ready for the questions?
Yes.
Okay. Flora wants to know, Stephen Miller, how hard will he fall?
Oh, I'm talking about him, the little Nazi,
Yeah.
the little miniature Nazi. He's so evil looking, isn't he?
Oh, I know. I look at him and I'm like, oh my God.
He's the one behind Trump's ear.
Well, right. Him and Bannon.
Yeah, Stephen Miller isn't going to last very long.
I've always said, my guides have always shown me him under indictment, him in jail, and I still see that. That hasn't changed.
When Trump was in office, the last time we saw that.
Correct, we did.
But it must mean it's going to happen this time.
Right. And I've got a question about Ukraine, because Rubio, another little puppet of Trump, and Trump are saying the U.S. will abandon U.S.-Ukraine peace efforts if something is not reached within a week. And I'm thinking Ukraine's not going to kowtow to that, because essentially what they're telling Zelensky is, give it all to us or part of it, and Russia gets their chunk.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bull, and he's not falling for it.
Bingo. I don't, well,
and also France and Germany and everybody's getting him all kinds of stuff that he needs.
Except maybe for Italy, because the prime minister of Italy, who is also like a MAGA, she's an ultra right-wing fascist, met with Trump, and her motto was make the West great again. And, she's agreeing with, all of these tariffs. So naturally, Italy's not going to have to pay it. But I see the Italian people getting rid of her too.
Yeah, is she a blonde woman?
Molini's her name.
Is she blonde?
I think you're probably thinking of the one in Germany, Alice Weidel, I think is her name, but she'll by the wayside too. Because all the European Union is going to stand behind Ukraine.
Definitely.
I also
Ukraine already knew this was going to happen.
Absolutely.
So they just making their own plans.
And I also think that China might end up helping out Ukraine.
Oh yeah, China's like they hate Trump. So if they help Ukraine and maybe even get a little bit of the materials,
Bingo.
they might make a little benefit there.
And I was thinking about that meeting that Zelensky had in the White House with Trump and Shady Vance. And my light bulb went on, and my feeling is that Zelensky had some insider information from the White House as to what Zelensky and Trump were going to pull. So I think behind the scenes, he had that meeting kind of anticipating that, but behind the scenes, he was already talking to members of the European Union and all of that. Because when Zelensky said, "What guarantee do I have?" He, I still feel he had insider information. There's
Yeah, he gives a lot of information, especially when Biden was in office.
there's leaks at the White House, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, I see Ukraine being okay. I've always seen them being okay.
I think so too. I talked to somebody from Ukraine just the other day, and my friend, Dr. Mila. Hi, Mila. She's Ukrainian, and she says the Ukrainians are not going to stop fighting. They won't give up. And I said, I agree.
Oh, every last one of them. Every last one of them.
Well, I still
But Russia is really, really hurting for certain.
bingo. I still see Putin going. So, all righty, let's see here. A lot of whistleblowers coming out, right?
Yeah, and it's driving Trump. He's getting really paranoid.
Linda, there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, but he's asking to look at everybody's cell phone.
Well, good luck with that. He wants to cut funding to Harvard, is it? Because they disagreed with him. All this, turn the IRS against people. The courts are going to keep saying he can't do this. It's
He can't do that.
unconstitutional. And what the courts can do is order them to stop. And if they don't, then they can issue warrants for them for contempt.
Yes,
And they
yes.
will.
They're talking. I see like Justice Roberts and a couple of them talking about what they're going to have to do.
Well, behind the scenes, a lot of them, the justices, maybe not Clarence Thomas, but a lot of them are knowing that they have opened Pandora's box. And it's, how do you get the beasties back in?
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
I think behind the scenes are trying to come up with some kind of plan. The next question is it bothers me that Trump wants somebody to go to the Supreme Court and they hear it like that. I think
Oh yeah, he keeps wanting to pull them in when they vote against him. He don't want to hear what they have to say.
right. They should tell him wait in line like everybody else. But they're hearing this whole thing about birthright citizenship.
Yeah, that's supposed to go on today, right?
Well, the Constitution says that if you're born here, you're an American citizen.
And I do see the Supreme Court leaning more towards what the Constitution says.
Exactly what I see, because many of those justices Trump appointed said they were constitutionalist. And they're going to say, wait a minute, it doesn't matter if your parents are born somewhere else and they're not citizens. Even if they're here without papers, you're born here, you're a citizen.
Right.
They'd have to change that law. And,
Yeah, well, we can get rid of Melania. We can get rid of her son because he wasn't married to Melania when the son was born.
bingo. So
His grandparents, so
that's right.
they had no right. Elon Musk, they all need to go.
Um,
I got a very, very beautiful image of Mother Mary. And I see her around Ukraine, like she's really overlooking it and making sure they're okay.
good.
I just see it in my mind's eye.
I got cold chills up and down with that.
Yeah, I just saw her and she's loving on the people. And there's a whole bunch of spirits around her, which are deceased Ukrainians, young and old. And she's gathering them together. And even though they did not die in vain, she's telling me.
Oh, good. I guess people are asking, the IRS to revoke Harvard's tax exempt status. I think the Trump administration will try, but that'll go to court. And I see the court.
That'll go to court and they'll win.
And Harvard will win. That's what I think too.
Yeah, that'll go to court and they'll win.
The courts except for the DOJ, but the rest of the courts will save our democracy. And I see some of those lawyers in the DOJ that lied about some of this stuff and, deporting that guy, Garcia. I see them disbarred. A lot of those DOJ lawyers,
Oh, I'll tell you who's in trouble is Pam Bondi too.
but I'm telling you, I see under indictment big time. But
Yeah.
if they put pressure on her, she's going to squeal like a bird. But my guides tell me, who was that attorney general under Nixon that went to jail?
Yeah, because of following Nixon's orders.
Bingo. And they're telling me the same thing's going to happen to Pam Bondi.
Good.
The same thing. Okay. All right. Sharon Donnelly is asking, will Trump somehow find a way to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve? Thanks in advance.
He wants to, but he's being advised not to.
Yeah, he really wants to.
Yeah, but it'll crash and burn if he does that.
I don't know how that the chairman of the Federal Reserve is appointed or whatever, but I don't think
His term lasts till May of next year.
so. I don't think they can just fire him like that.
Well, Trump thinks he can fire anybody.
Well, right.
But he's having his lawyers look into it, and they're telling him, sir, unfortunately, you can't do it.
I still see a huge rip coming between him and Elon Musk, a huge blow up.
Well, things are tough right now.
We ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, that Trump is trying to hand him a bunch of projects to do in the space industry. Missiles, defense, missiles from space and all this. But I mean, I don't see Elon Musk lasting. I
don't either. What about that whistleblower that came forward? I forget what department.
Oh, wasn't it terrible?
Yeah.
On Rachel Maddow, and Starlink got into it. That's how he was able to cheat. They cheated for the,
well, you and I had both said that there's going to be whistleblowers coming out to talk about, how Starlink, they were using it to spy and how they were using it to transfer data over to Russia and back and forth. And we both saw that Starlink contracts, a lot of them being canceled and ultimately Starlink taken out of the sky, if you will.
Yeah, because people are sick of them. Also, so they cheated. They went in, and then they had all these Russians trying to log in with their names and passwords. Fortunately, there was a fail-safe that foreign countries couldn't log into this particular system. And so this guy just wants people to know, but isn't it interesting? They sent him a picture of him walking his dog, and he'd only lived in this place for 2 months.
That was a threat.
They said, basically, we have our eye on you.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think he's going to kowtow to the threat. I don't feel that he's going to go forward with this.
A lot of people are helping him right now.
Absolutely.
They got him covered. But did you see Lisa Murkowski in Australia?
Yeah.
She said that, not Australia, Alaska.
Well,
she said they're all afraid because they get their lives threatened all the time.
Well, then that would make a lot of us fight harder.
There's some people like that would just give their life up just to get this SOB off their back. Whatever, come kill me,
I agree with that too. Also on that Starlink thing, I'm seeing whistleblowers coming from Russia as well that are going to go public. They'll defect maybe to the European Union, but they'll go public with it, and they're not going to be thrown out of first floor windows like Putin.
Yeah. Most of the people that are killed, though, are in Russia.
I know, but I still see people from Russia going to the EU and then defecting to the EU and being under protection, but really talking about this whole Starlink thing, the misinformation. I'm telling you, they're going to have definite proof that we know.
Well, I mean, Elon Musk, before all this, was visiting Russia all the time.
That's right. Elon Musk is going to be in deep doo-doo as well. I see him deported, or he flees to another country, maybe South Africa.
I see him fleeing.
But the South Africans don't want him either.
They don't want him either.
Nope.
But I see his mom around him, so.
All righty. L Flower says, Mel, you should be resting and watch old movies at the same time. I have watched more old movies.
Oh my God. Yesterday I watched, do you remember, what's her name? Karen. She was on Starman. Do you remember that
Oh
movie,
yeah, yeah,
Starman?
yeah, yeah,
I haven't seen that forever. I watched it, thoroughly enjoyed Karen Allen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I got in a Karen Allen mood. And by the way, back in the day, uh what's his name? The guy that played Starman. When he was young, he was
I have
cute.
such a crush on him, but I can't think of his.
He's so cute. Anyway, so I watched her movie until September. Gals, if any of you saw this movie, it's on MGM right now. If you subscribe to that, it's called Until September. It was done in 1989. And it's mostly well, you would probably love it too. But she falls in love with this Frenchman. Oh my God, it's sizzling. A lot of nude scenes.
Ooh,
And I'm talking him too. You know what I'm saying, gals?
we're gonna
Just
put.
like with our guy, he stood up butt naked on Starman. And my God, the gluteus maximus was just perfect.
I love it. Well, whoever's telling me I should be watching all movies, I am. I'm looking at myself here in the mirror, in the camera. All righty. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Uh, Storyteller says, thanks for wishing me good health. Thank you. I appreciate all the prayers and all the support. Been incredible. I'm sure that's
They are just wonderful, those people out there.
oh, I tell you, I love, yeah. There and people in the community, everybody has been so tremendous. Okay. Most Americans want this tragic episode and their collective history to be over, as do
Yes.
I. A question. What do your guides tell us about what action or actions the masses could take to advance this timeline or even to switch to a more redemptive one? Well, what we're doing, speaking up, our guides have shown us there's going to be
Oh
mass
my
protest.
God, if you guys watch Rachel Maddow, and I know I was totally anti-Rachel Maddow for a moment there, that the people even in the red states that are marching right now,
Oh my God.
and there's huge marches tomorrow.
A lot of seniors are going to be marching. As senior citizens, I grew up in the late 60s and early 70s. And you know what? We were child of protest. I mean, we were out there protesting, and
Yeah,
us seniors they're protesting Social Security offices in the front, protesting a lot. So I think seniors are going to be arranging a lot of mass protests. Young
yes,
people all across the board, Democrats and Republicans alike, holding hands, chanting, vote them out. We're done. We've had it.
yes, yes. It's America's speaking up, and it's going to get worse too because he's going to try some more stuff. He's definitely going to try some more stuff.
Oh,
Uh, but he touches that Social Security any more than they've already done, you're going to see fire and brimstone.
well, he's
Because
due.
he's affecting people's livelihood. And did you see there's like 10 senators now that said they won't vote for that budget?
That's right. A lot of times people don't vote on social issues, they vote on economic ones or their perceived economic ones. And when he starts hitting people in the pocketbook, remember the first Bush who said, watch my lips, no more taxes, and he raised taxes? He didn't get voted back in.
No,
Well, Trump can't be, but Steve Bannon says, oh, in 2028, he's going to be voted back.
he's not going to.
Wrong.
Even if he could be on the ballot, he would lose so bad it's not even funny. You should see his if you don't watch Rachel.
I do. I've been watching her.
She puts up the recent polls.
Yeah.
He is just below. He's drowning.
And wait till the stock market takes another hit. But
Yeah.
manipulating that. He's doing that because when it's with these tariffs, because when it makes the stock market come down, then him and his rich friends, when he tells them buy stock, well, hello, that's insider trading. The stocks
Oh,
are
Marjorie Taylor Greene's in trouble too, by the way.
bingo. They buy those stocks when they're low, then the stocks come back up, and then they sell them back in the market and make a boatload of money. What do
Yeah, but I don't know what she
you?
bought, but they're getting ready to drop too.
Yeah, but I think they're going to go after her for insider trading.
She did do inside. They're all talking about it. It's as plain as the nose on your face.
I don't know if it's illegal for senators or House members, but like
It will be illegal if it's not.
exactly. But
Every time they try to present a bill, like it's illegal for you to indulge in stocks if you're on the finance committee, etc. It always fails.
Right. Right. Because
And the other one is these people that come in and talk you into voting on for what they believe in. What do you call those guys?
oh, I know what it is.
Even Obama talked about it. It's time for us to get rid of them
Oh,
because they're
lobbyist,
influence.
lobbyist.
Yeah, because they can pay you, they can treat you to vacations and holidays. And they try to get rid of it, but they Republicans wouldn't hear of it.
But at some point, I see legislation being passed where people like Elon Musk, one of our subscribers called him that, can't buy elections where these lobbyists, their wings are going to be clipped a great deal.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if Marjorie Taylor Greene would be held for insider trading, but there's other stuff related to that. I just don't know what the charges would be called. But you know, manipulating the market, and that's not cool. That's illegal. That's
Does
over.
she really only have three toes?
I
You
don't
ever see those pictures of her feet
know, but
in
I
sandals? It shows three toes.
well, I have to laugh. I'm sorry. Um, her new name is going to be Half Toe, No Toe. Um, well, she might only have
Write us, you guys, and tell if that's true.
she might only have three toes, but she certainly doesn't have much of a brain, that's for sure.
No, no.
Well, I think I'm just going to call her Three Toe just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Let's see.
just very sad that human beings could do this to others. She knows what it's like to struggle, and yet she's stepping all over everybody.
Well, here it is, but you know, you struggle now. I've got mine and I'm keeping mine, and I don't care if you struggle. That's her
Yeah,
mentality.
that's sad.
That's Trump's mentality. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine. If I want it, I can take it, and you can't
Right.
do anything. Otherwise, I'll make you.
Well, he thought he would go in there and do these executive orders and be king for a day. He is absolutely shocked by how much is coming back on him.
I'm going to end the war in Ukraine in one day. Yeah, right.
I'm going to bring the prices of eggs down in one day.
Right. So anyway, I see what we can do is what we're doing. People protesting. We've had enough. You know, the redemptive one is to put somebody in office to make sure that we get laws passed to keep rogue presidents from doing this again. And I also see this Supreme Court reversing their order on that whole presidential immunity thing.
Oh, that's going to happen.
It
Yeah.
will. It's going to happen soon.
Yeah. Well, they're going to actually constitutionally have enough people voting in things like a president can't be a convicted felon.
Bingo.
A president can't not show their IRS. They have to sell all businesses and not say they did and they didn't.
Right. Show proof of it.
Show proof, and they're gonna have a lot of things.
Good. Good. Yes. I get that. That made my day. All
Yeah.
right. Auntie Vaughn says, "Welcome home, Auntie Mel. It's good to be back. I miss doing this when I was in the hospital, but the first time I was just too sick.
Yeah, this time you were sick, but not as bad.
No, I wasn't as bad. The first time I was, there were a couple of days I didn't think I was going to make it. I was that sick.
Oh, I know. Well, you saw my cousin at the foot of your bed,
I
my
did.
deceased cousin Regina.
And that was the sickest point. And I'm like, am I going to make it? And that's when I had that vision of Regina. And it was just the most vivid dream. And she took me to this plane, and she was doing this dance, and they were dancing, and she had ancestral spirits. Grandma was with her.
And they were pounding the drum.
They were pounding the drum, and they were doing this dance. And I said, what was the dance? And she said, victory.
Victory. Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
It was clear as a bell.
You know, the actress Olivia Hussey, who died in December, just had her birthday yesterday. And it was really weird. She came to my mind and I saw her as clear as day, excited to tell me she'd been with Mother Teresa.
Wow.
And she's saying, look, Linda. And she also was with her former husband who was killed, Dean Martin's son.
Oh yeah.
And his family. She loved them. She had told me how much she loved them. But anyway, but I had forgotten in that moment with her being with Mother Teresa, she portrayed Mother Teresa in a movie.
That's right. I forgot about that. She was great in that movie.
She was great. She was great as Juliet. She was great as Mother Mary and Jesus of Nazareth.
She was a great actress.
I was asking my friend, what does Good Friday mean? Because you know the stock market's closed today for Good Friday.
Good Friday is supposedly the day that Jesus was put on the cross. And then, he died, I think, on Saturday, and then he supposedly resurrected on Easter Sunday.
Right, but you know when him and I were talking in that moment, because it's such a nationwide thing, Good Friday, Christmas, all these Christian things. Not that I don't believe, I totally believe in Jesus of Nazareth, totally believe, even though I'm not Catholic or Christian or whatever, raised by atheists. But I saw the United States down the road, I don't know when this is going to happen, not celebrating Christian religions anymore. You can celebrate it if you want, but it's not going to be a national holiday. They're not going to allow religion to be defined by a holiday.
I agree with that because, like for example, our Jewish friends, they
Yeah,
don't get any time off from work for Passover or
yeah,
for Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur is their highest holy day.
yeah,
Our Muslim friends, they don't get any time off for their holy days. Our Hindu friends,
right.
so I mean,
So technically, when the white man came to the United States, it was supposed to be non-religious.
right.
The Constitution, all of it. They do use the word God, but you weren't supposed to. Every person had a right to worship on their own. And this Christian thing has taken off.
Well,
Look at this. Did you see the crosses Pam Bondi and the other one wear? Those gold crosses, and I keep waiting for them to spontaneously burst.
I'm sure that Jesus and God,
They wouldn't want that.
whatever you perceive him or her to be, uh, are having conniption fits that people will be wearing these crosses and defiling his name.
And then talking cruelly about other people.
Correct.
Because we're all love one another as I have loved you. There
Bingo.
you go.
I think, everybody has the right to worship in whatever way they want.
Whatever they want.
But this country was founded on the separation of church and state, and I think it should stay that way.
I remember when I was a little girl, we had some students that wore the really long skirts.
Yes.
I don't know what religion.
They're Amish or Mennonites.
I don't remember what they were, but they did not sell. When we did our little Christmas thing at school, they weren't allowed to.
They could have been Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe.
And I was sad that I think it was Jehovah Witness. I was sad that they couldn't do it. I thought they were missing out.
My husband was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh,
And he was
that
disfellowshipped.
be explaining a lot of things.
He was disfellowshipped because he was gay. And when they disfellowship you, your family can't talk to you, they shun you.
Oh, the same as Scientology.
Right. Right, but worse. And he said, I just had to be who I am. So
Yeah. What worse than Scientology? They pounded you, they watched you, they followed you. You've
no,
seen
they
those.
don't, no, they don't do that.
Okay.
Jehovah's Witnesses that I've met that have been disfellowshipped and some that are active, they're very nice people. They're not mean
Yeah.
people. But if you have been baptized Jehovah's Witness and you don't go along with what they want, somebody turns you in, then you have this almost trial with a council of elders, and they decide if they want you to mend your ways. And if you say no, then they disfellowship you and they announce it like Mel was disfellowshipped. And then all of a sudden your family that are Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't talk to you. They just,
Was your husband's family Jehovah Witness?
yes, his mother and father.
Hmm.
And his aunt was disfellowshipped, and they became very close years later. And so when we go to Ohio to visit Gary's family, his aunt is in spirit now, but Gary's cousins, they're not witnesses, but that's essentially Gary's family. He's got other aunts and uncles, but because he was shunned, like when Gary's mom died, when she was sick, he took a leave of leave of absence from his work to help take care of her. And they would allow that. But when she died, he had a Jehovah's Witness funeral and he didn't go because he knew what she would have wanted. And so he honored that. Um, so
People are so weird when it comes to religion.
I know. But
Hey, listen, the Church of Satan kicked me out because they said I was too damn evil. A plague on both your houses.
yeah, I walk in the church and the holy water boils. I guess we're in the same boat. All righty, we got time for just a few more questions, and that'll be
Okay.
all right. This is a good one. Auntie Vaughn. Hi, Auntie Vaughn. Welcome home, Auntie Mel. Thank you. What event will be the catalyst to have Congress and SCOTUS stand up to the tangerine toddler? I like that, the
I
tangerine.
love it.
I don't know if it's any one event. I think that people are
Well, okay, listen, we lost 10 Republicans already on this bill, and you know he's furious about that.
yeah, bingo.
If they turn on him on this bill, he's going to be fire and brimstone and just show his ass even more. We got Murkowski saying that they're all afraid of him.
Right. Well, but
He's a bully.
ultimately there will be people that will stand up to him. Remember during the McCarthy era, some of those people that stood up to McCarthy and those Senate committees, they made their life hell. But ultimately, people, their careers were ruined, but they stood up to him. And that made other people more brave. And then there were this
Yes.
huge brave handful of people that stood up to him. And guess what? Other people started and other
Like
people
Harvard.
started. Right.
Harvard got like $1 million worth of donations. He says, we're cutting off your money. They're saying, I don't care. Listen, everything he's doing will be reversed.
Bingo. So
Everything. So he's not going to be in there. I'm not even seeing 2 more years. I'm seeing bada bing, bada boom.
I don't either. So people stood up to McCarthy, senators, things like that. And that's exactly what's going to happen here.
Yep.
I think, there'll be a few of them that'll pave the way. He'll try to make their life miserable. They're going to be like, we don't care. And
Yeah.
those are the ones that'll get reelected.
And
Because
listen, when he was talking about the doctor with tears in his eyes said, sir, I've never seen anyone healthier than you. And the doctor couldn't keep his eyes off of him because he was just staring at him.
you're right.
And it was like he says out with a straight face and thinks Americans were rolling on the floor laughing their ass off.
The
He
doctor
was staring because he couldn't believe how ugly he is.
the doctor should have said, when Trump said the doctor told me he hadn't seen anybody healthier than me, the doctor should have stood up and said, yeah, but that only relates to a hospice ward. Okay, we got time for one more. Let's see here. Oh, Air 1917 says Steve Bannon is making the rounds on Bill Maher and Chris Cuomo, pushing the notion that his people are working on Trump running for a third term. How far will Bannon and Steve Miller get in making this happen?
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Trump's not going to live long enough.
Well, even if he did, the Supreme Court would say no.
Yeah.
It takes to change the Constitution, you have to have X amount of votes in the House, X in the Senate, and then X amount of votes from the states. They don't have it.
They will change the Constitution when Trump is gone to make sure we never allow a felon. That'll be written in the Constitution.
What I see too. And they're going to change the law that is setting president. It's not a law, it's just a rule, but it's not a law. But they're going to make it, they're going to change it when they say a sitting president cannot be indicted. It's going to be if they commit felonies or high crimes and misdemeanors, and there's something that's hugely indictable, they're not immune. Yes, they can be indicted.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, Miss Grindel, are you going to have a wonderful Easter?
Yeah, well, we don't really technically celebrate Easter. We're having food. It's a chow down day.
Are you going to have a nice chow down day?
Yes, I got a prime rib that I had bought for Christmas. But
Yum.
my daughter went to the Warriors game, so I'm going to cook it Sunday.
Yum.
With just like, mashed taters and gravy. That's easy. I already have the rolls. I already have the desserts. I'm ready to go.
Put a little sour cream in your mashed potatoes.
Yeah, that's how I do it. Oh,
Well,
how do you make your horseradish? I've got the horseradish without any fixings in it. Do you mix it with sour cream?
you can mix it with a little mayonnaise and some sour cream.
Okay.
And if you really, you can just put a touch of lemon in there, just a touch.
Okay.
And if you want to make some good shrimp cocktail sauce,
No, I'm not. We're not doing shrimp.
okay, but for
Too
people,
much protein with the prime rib.
that's true. But for people that might want to do it, get a thing of chili sauce that it looks like ketchup, that horseradish to taste, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon.
And I do a little garlic powder and onion powder too.
Ooh, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody have a wonderful, safe food day.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to go to my cousin's on Saturday. But here again, I can't eat a lot. Well, that's the Italian side, so I'm sure we'll have pasta, so I can eat that.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, Eleni here at the office, she's Greek because their Easter is the same as ours this year. We're going to stop by her house because she's got relatives in from Greece that want to see us. And so we'll spend some time there. And I'm just bummed because I can't even have any of that good Italian food or Greek food. I'm like, "Ugh."
Oh, the fig leaf thing or the
Oh,
grape leaf.
that's dolmades. Those are so
What
good.
do they say? Oompa.
Opa.
Opa.
That's when they have the saganaki, the cheese, and then they put cognac or something over. They light it, and when it poofs up, they go opa. And then they take the lemon and put on there. And
I love that big fat Greek wedding. That was a fun show.
that was my favorite. The
Do
first,
they really do the Windex?
no.
Oh,
I think they did that because in Greece they used to tint the alcohol blue because you knew it was alcohol. And so I think they just got that whole Windex thing from that.
oh, okay. In
Uh,
fact, I was watching some History Channel thing, and they were talking one of the biggest eruptions that has ever happened was in Santorini.
yes, and they think that might be the legend of Atlantis, and it wiped out the Minoan civilization. And
Yeah,
Santorini, if you go to Santorini, it's the island is all the caldera of that ancient volcano, and on the
yeah.
inside they built hotels and stuff, and you stair step down. But right in the middle, and it's surrounded by water, there's a volcano, and that is, that volcano erupting. It keeps building
I
up.
would love to go there at some point in time because my favorite, not that I'm much of a believer in saint, but the one that I really liked was Saint Philomena.
Yeah, let's take a trip. We'll go.
Yeah, she comes from there.
The food is incredible, especially if
Oh yeah, that I've heard in Italy too. I've heard Italy's food is really good.
somebody told me at this trip on May the 19th, like the doctor said, if I don't have any more flare-ups, I can go and blah, 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 but just be careful with diet. And somebody said, but Mel, you're going to miss out on all the good food. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to be in Italy. They got the best pasta in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you might not, you could even eat the top part of the pizza. You don't have to eat the crust.
Right. And France too. They've got some good food too.
I don't know. You know what? That psychic friend of mine, Patricia McLean, she told me, whatever you do, don't go to France because you had a bad past life there. She told me this when I was 30 something.
Wow.
And she also told me I was going to have two boys. I thought she was cray cray. She said at some point in time I would be sought after, which has sort of happened. But so she tells me all this. And then my sister really wanted to go to France. And so we went to France. The minute I got off that plane, I was sick for the whole time I was there.
Oh, wow.
Some sort of past life.
Well, I've been to Strasbourg, France, and it's beautiful. But this is the French Riviera, so we're going to go to Monaco, and the Grand Prix is going to be taking place when we're there. They want like $3,000 for tickets to see that. And I told Gary, I'm not paying $3,000 to watch a car race to the streets.
I'm not a car racer fan.
I can go down to Chicago and see that.
My first husband was into stock car racing, so we'd go to Fresno to watch those old cars. That was kind of fun.
Well, they're fun.
Going in circles. But what happened was there was a drive-in theater right next to the place. And they used to have porno. And it was so funny because when the movies came up, everybody was looking at the porno. Nobody was looking at the car race.
They hear their binoculars going, oh my God, look at
You
that.
get two for the price of one.
That's funny. All right, my friend. Monday we'll do your channel.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, everybody, stay well. Have a wonderful
Have a
child,
wonderful gathering.
and everybody, please stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Go ahead.
well, you know that guy that just did a bunch of shooting
Yes.
in Florida was a maggot.
He was a MAGA. Yeah.
I get another thing going on here. I just got a hit that something was going to happen on Sunday. I
Oh,
don't know if it's in the US. I'll have to concentrate on it.
okay.
But you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
But you know, there's a thing that I post on Christmas time. And it says, is anybody not going anywhere for Christmas? You know, by the by, is there anyone? Because if you're not, can I borrow your chairs?
Ah,
It's so mean.
I have
It's so
that. I
mean.
have that here at the office. They're going like, Debbie's like, Mel, can I borrow? Because we got tables because we're going to start doing seminars here again and all kinds of chairs. Can I borrow the tables and chairs? I go, yeah, you got a key. Just go pick them up, bring them back.
Yeah. All right, you guys, you take care.
All right, stay well. Happy Chow Day, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye bye.